Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're excited. What is going on? What is going on? I honestly can't even put it into words just how amazing these past few days have been, and this is only the start of it. So I've been quiet here on YouTube, but it's because I've had so much going on over on my other pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. We've been very busy. If you guys don't follow me over there, then let me just fill you in on what's been happening. Basically, I've come out with my own collection with one of my favorite brands, xoxo by SJ. I wear their products every single day, so it was obviously the dream whenever they wanted to collab with a little on me. And today is actually the day of pre-sale and I am dead. Dead, gone, deceased, in the grave right now. I just have the kindest hearted people following me, and I know I say that all the time, but I'm not just saying it, I genuinely mean it. Yous are the best. I don't know what I did to deserve such supportive people. You bunch of rides. I'll be giving you little teasers of the products and small little talk-throughs about the products over on my Instagram, but I wanted to do a video where I just go through absolutely everything, let you dive into my mind and see what exactly I was thinking when designing this collection and my whole kind of thought process behind it, etc, etc. Okay, let's just jump in. By the way, I did pre-film some of these clips, as you will see. That was for my own sanity, which I think is long gone at this stage anyways. And all the looks that you're gonna see in this video, there will be tutorials on coming soon. I'm dropping a video on Friday using all my products, showing you exactly how I use them, great fun looks, Instagram looks, so I'll see you there Friday. But before then, let's get stuck in. So this collection, xoxo by SJ X Keilidh, consists of 3 pairs of eyelashes, a brush set, and an eyeshadow palette. So the message I get sent most when I'm creeping through my DMs, I see you sliding in there. The message I get most from people is I inspire them to play with colour. I inspire them to step out of their comfort zone a little bit, try different techniques, not give a shit about what anyone thinks. Go get your groceries wearing makeup like this. And that is the most important thing to me. That's what I strive to inspire people to do. So that makes me very happy. But that is what I base this whole collection off. I wanted to come out with products that my following was gonna love and my following was gonna use, and that was gonna make a difference to their makeup routine and make their lives a hell of a lot easier. So the biggest part of this collection is, of course, the palettes. This is my Urban Bible eyeshadow palette. So my inspiration behind the packaging for this palette was old books, old storybooks, Bibles, biblical, that kind of vibe. I wanted a grungy feel, really rustic, kind of worn in looking, textured, old kind of vibe, Game of Thrones vibe, you feel me? I honestly don't feel like this packaging could get any more me and what I represent. See, even on the back, the way there's little marks and everything, I didn't want it to look perfect, perfectly imperfect, a little bit scruffy. That's me, basically. That's my aesthetic in life, a little rough around the edges. So this is what the whole packaging of the collection is about. I was super excited about it. The palette is a square and it's not super big, which is what I wanted. Like I said before, I wanted to push the boundaries to inspire people to play around with color a little bit more, but I also wanted to be a little bit selfish about it and create my own perfect palette, because I don't have my perfect palette that, you know, I throw in my bag and I think, yeah, great, I've got everything. There's either a black missing, a white missing. There just wasn't everything that I personally needed. There's 2 sides of Keilidh also. There's the glam, kind of grungy, smoky side, and then there's the Instagram Keilidh. So I wanted to create a palette that kind of meshed them 2 together so that I could create whatever the hell I wanted, basically. And that leads us to this. So the way this is laid out basically is, if you cover this side, those are the grungy colors I use. Then on this side we have all my Instagram colors that I wear on the gram all the time. That's the way I kind of organized it. We have a big ass mirror to put my big ass face in it. Guys, I just can't. I salute the girls who can use a small mirror, but I can't do that. I need to be able to see everything. There's 16 shadows in this, 11 mattes and 5 shimmers. Now let's move on to the shades. Like I said, the palette was inspired by like biblical things, and so I wanted to give like biblical names. This was so much fun for me to create. It's my first time kind of getting a look into how makeup is created and, you know, why certain things are made certain ways. I actually have a full vlogumentary, I'm calling it, of this whole process, which will be up next week. I filmed the whole process. I wanted to bring you guys along with me. I didn't want to just do this by myself. I want you guys to see it and see all the work that goes into it behind the scenes, because I feel like people don't show that for some reason. And these eyeshadows are super soft, so easy to blend. I can't even stress that to you. Like I said, I have got full-blown tutorials coming on Friday of these palettes. I use wet base as I do with all other palettes. Because these eyeshadows are soft and easy to blend, they do need a sticky base to kind of grip onto. I feel like everyone is doing that with their eyeshadow. 100% if you're looking to do Instagram looks and you want the most out of your eyeshadow, you won't set your base. I feel like everyone kind of knows that at this stage. If you're watching my tutorials anyway, you should. So first up we have Veil, which is this matte white eyeshadow. White's very hard to get right, I will say that. I don't know how I thought Veil was a biblical name, but I think it's a cute name for a white eyeshadow. You know, like a veil of white shadow, I don't know. It's a cute way of describing it. To get this eyeshadow super opaque, like any white eyeshadow, you will have to build it up. White is the hardest eyeshadow to do, obviously because it's white, so it is going to be a little bit more transparent than anything else. I was so strategic whenever I created this palette. I wanted to put colors in it that I knew. I could mix together to create other shades and kind of really test your artistry. It was super important for me to have a white in this palette because, first of all, for obviously setting my cut creases. A big thing I actually do with my eyeshadows is I like to mix them. I love blending the edges of my eyeshadow with a little bit of white, especially if it's up near my brow bone. It just gives that perfect blend. Mixing white with any one of these colors is going to give you a lighter version of it. Obviously going to make it so much easier for you to blend. You don't need 1,000,001 transition shades. Again, I do go into more detail and explain that properly in my tutorials, which you will see this Wednesday. Besides this, we have Savior, which is, the only way I can describe this color is it's the perfect poo brown color. I think on the website I said like golden warm brown. It's the perfect poo color. If you've watched my tutorials, you know I love a nice yellowy brown. I call this one Savior because, you know, if you got a brown smoky eye that's not blended, then the edges of that way and it was save the day. Savior, get it? Beside this we have 1996, which is my perfect gold shade. It's like an old gold and has a brown base to it. This eyeshadow is a foiled shadow, so it is super metallic and super intense and foily. That's what I wanted. This color is the perfect go for me if you're wanting that super grungy look. You can build it up and get it super messy and super grungy, or else you can just use your finger and just very lightly. All the shimmers and foils and everything in this palette apply best with your finger or with a wet brush. That goes without saying. 1996 is actually my birthday. Now the reason why that is there is because I actually wanted it to be in Roman numerals. Again, kind of fitting in with that whole olden vibe, but it just looked weird in the font. And yeah, I guess we're here with 1996. Beside this we have Prophecy, which is a more warmer, rich brown, which I think is the perfect color for an all over brown smoky eye look. Like, gorgeous. Moving on to the next row then, we have Aura. So you can see I've added these 3 bright pops of color. The reason why I did that is because I wanted a palette that when I opened it up, I was inspired. I didn't want to put all the typical eyeshadow colors beside each other, all the typical colors that we've already seen already. I wanted to put something different in it that was going to inspire me to create different looks and, you know, test myself every day. Also, these 3 colors are gorgeous for adding a little pop of color in the eye. So these colors are perfect for adding into. So Aura is this gorgeous bright teal shade, and then we have Myth, which is this really cool purple. It nearly looks blue sometimes. And then we have Mercy, this gorgeous baby pink. I use as a highlighter an awful lot. It's gorgeous. So these 3 eyeshadows are actually shimmers. That's how I describe them. They don't have a very strong color base underneath them the way 1996 does. Let me tell you something, when you apply these eyeshadows over a base, you get the most insane reflex. It literally looks like you've applied the most finest glitter to your eyes. These eyeshadows have the tiniest glitter particles, and I was very specific about that because I wanted something that was gonna, you know, reflect really cool. Next we have Faith, which is this bright ass neon yellow. So how the name Faith and Freedom actually came about, if you haven't put it together yet, I will tell you. Because of my favorite man, George Michael. I was sitting listening to my George playlist when I was playing around with these colors and testing them out, and I was just like, yes. Faith and Freedom are my favorite songs. They just make me so happy. So I wanted to add a little personal touch obviously into this. Perfect name for this, bright yellow. Yellow's such a happy color, you know? I don't know what it is about yellows, but whenever you see them in the pan, they actually look a lot brighter than what they come out on the eyes, as you can see. So I had to make sure this is super bright. Now the only thing is, because this is a neon, it is a little bit more powdery, depending on what brush you use. That goes with any neon eyeshadow. If you've worked with neon eyeshadows before, then you know this. I just want to put that in there before any of you try to clock me. You ain't clocking nothing. Beside this, we have Unruly. This eyeshadow was not a last minute decision, obviously. It wasn't, nothing was last minute, but it was decided later on when the palette was already kind of finished. I had another orange shadow in its place here, which was just far too similar to the orange already in the palette, so I wanted to change it up. And what I was doing was, I was flicking through my Instagram being like, can I recreate that look using my palette? And every look, the one thing I was missing out on was a dark, deep red. The reason why I love this eyeshadow is because it is so deceiving. It is so sneaky and I love it. When you see this in person, it looks like just a deep maroony brown. But when you put it on the eyes, this bitch transforms. If you use it with browns, it will act as a deep brown, a deep kind of burgundy shade. But if you use it by itself, like when you apply it and blend it out, it becomes pink. Unruly is this whole section here of my eye. That's why I didn't have to put a pink in this palette. That is literally just unruly there, all on that outer portion of the eye. Blended with a teeny amount of white just around the edges, but it looks like I have about 3 or 4 eyeshadows on there. That's what I mean by these eyeshadows being soft and they blend so well. Look at it. I didn't need a transition shade. And it's also what I meant about me being strategic about what eyeshadows I put into this palette. I have my dark pink, my dark maroon, and my dark brown shade, and my pink all in one. It's just one of my favorite eyeshadows in the palette, and I'm honestly so happy that I did second guess myself and I did check myself and be like, no, we need a deep red. Next to this then we have Oath, which is just a gorgeous deep brown. Guys, let me tell you something about the dark eyeshadows in this palette. They are not to be messed with. You only need the tiniest amount. They're so dark, so opaque. I don't need to say anything else. You'll see when you get it. Down here we have Majesty, which is a bright orange shade. So this one fits into obviously the brighter colors in the Instagram Keilidh, but it also fits into the basic Keilidh, because by adding a little bit of the orange into these brown tones, you can make a more warmer, orangey or smoky eye. We already talked about Myth, so moving on to Freedom. I won't let you down, I will not give you up. Sorry, George. Oh. Freedom after Freedom 90, another one of my favorite songs with George Michael, which is just this nice purple shade. It's actually not super bright. I didn't want a super bright pinky purple. I wanted a grungy kind of purple. This shade fits in the middle, so I can use it either side. I wanted a purple that I could use with, which I'm actually really happy about, because a lot of the palettes that have come out this year have a lot of bright purples in it. See, again, the universe just knows. Then next to this eyeshadow we have Chaos. Is again one of those eyeshadows that you can put so much with. So this eyeshadow is more of a sheen. It's not a foiled eyeshadow. It's not going to come up as intense as 1996. I wanted to put a petrol color in because this is honestly my favorite eyeshadow to wear on the lid if I'm going for a brown smoky eye. It just changes it from being a boring brown smoky eye to adding a little bit of color, a little bit more grunge, a little tweaky tweak, you know? It's honestly one of my favorite colors. I've always worn petrol colors on the lid, so I had to put this in my palette. I wanted this eyeshadow to be used by the average girl, or like someone who maybe doesn't play around with their eyeshadow colors too much. I wanted this to be something that kind of pulled them out of that. Now, like I said, this eyeshadow is more of a sheen. So it's more so the brown base with a sheen of the petrol color going through that. And I'll tell you why it's like that. Whenever you swatch it with your finger, it comes up more intense. But then whenever you swatch it here, you see, it's a sheen. It literally looks like a metal steel pole or something. It's not super glittery, but I'm going to show you something, okay? I'm gonna let you in a little secret. Best thing about this eyeshadow being a sheen is that you can mix other eyeshadows on top of it. Just the way you see this. Aura, the teal, I'm taking a tiny amount of that, and you see? Then we're going to take Myth, the purpley shade. Then we've got more of a purple oil slick. Then, and I'm actually going to pop it on top, just on one part. So see that bottom one? Like an oil slick as it fades from the purple to the teal. This eyeshadow 100% has to be applied with your fingers. This eyeshadow is pressed quite hard, so you kind of do have to dig in. It doesn't kick back a lot of eyeshadow. It's just pressed really hard, so you do have to kind of really dig into it. That's what gives it that sheeny metallic effect. A brush kind of disperses the particles in it a little bit more and doesn't give you that like metallic effect. If you use a brush, it will pull more of the brown base in it, whereas if you use your finger, it'll pull more of the greeny colors in it. So it's whatever way you want it. Then we have Mercy, which I already talked about, and then we have Sacred Fire, which is this bright ass red. Red does pull a little bit more orange than what it does pink, but this is a super pigmented red. I can't even tell you. This is so bright and intense. You only need to use the tiniest amount when using this. I have warned you I have warned you. Next to that then we have Sacrifice, which is this super, super deep purple that I am just obsessed with. I just love a deep purple. Then we have Sin. You know I had to put a black in this palette. Where would I be going without a black in this palette, honestly? Then when I say that this black eyeshadow is black and that you only need to use the tiniest amount of it, I ain't lying. All the eyeshadows are super pigmented. You only have to use the tiniest amount. Again, I have loads of tutorials coming up so you guys can see exactly how I use them. Yeah, that there is the Urban Bible palette. Guys, I am so obsessed with this and I can't believe I had to keep it a secret from you guys for so long. I don't know how I did it, honestly. This has been the only palette I've been bringing traveling with me. This has been the only palette I've been using this past while, very sneakily, hehehe. And I just cannot wait to see what you guys create with this. I know that you are going to create absolute fire. Or sacred fire, should we say. I'm honestly just so excited and I kind of wait. It's really weighty, which I'm very happy with because it feels more luxurious. I better not throw it around. Also, the packaging on the inside, it has the little like grey flecks, which I love. See this palette? The dirtier it gets, the better looking it looks. Let me see if I can find one. Because it has the little flecks of grey, it makes it look like the eyeshadow that's like messy or whatever is part of the background. The grubbiness literally fades into the packaging. Whenever the videographer was filming it, he was like, oh, you need to wipe something off that, and I was like, no, actually that's how it is. A little rough looking, a little rough around the edges. Me. Lashes! I mean, obviously, I could not come out with my own lashes with my favorite lash brand. First up, we've got the Keilidh lash. Fluffy texture, full without closing up your eyeball. That's what we got here. I named these lashes after me because these are the lashes I wear the most. Every single time I wear these lashes I get asked, what are you wearing? Which has been a bit of a pain seeing as I couldn't tell anybody up until now, but obviously a big compliment at the same time. Super flexible band. These lashes start smaller on the inner corner and then taper their way out. This lash can take you from daytime to nighttime. As you can see, you can wear with absolutely no eyeshadow or barely any eyeshadow at all. The band on this lash is invisible, super lightweight and comfortable. Guys, I've worn these lashes through the snow. I've traveled the world in these, guys. This lash is going to suit everyone. It just depends on your personal preference. Next up, we've got Black Heart, named after my favorite emoji. I was running out of names, guys, alright? You'll understand when you see the full collection. These are the longest lashes in the collection. Super wispy, super fluffy, as you can see. Again, you can get away with wearing these ones during the daytime and nighttime also. These are my perfect lashes for a smoky eye. I love that they're super wispy at the ends. It means that they don't cover up all the work that you've done before and you can actually see your eye makeup. Just wispy, fluffy. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Ego. I named these Ego because when you wear these lashes, your ego goes pew. I named these Ego because these are obviously the more fuller Instagram lash, if you will. Super fluffy, full, mink like without obviously being mink. A lot of these lashes that are on the market that are faux mink, I find are very long and super heavy, and of course that suits people with amazing eyeballs, but not all of us have amazing eyeballs. This lash for me is the perfect Instagram lash. I made them so that they weren't too long, so they weren't going to cover everything that you just did for the gram, but it's still a bold lash. If you're someone who's got hooded eyes and you find that you can't find a full dramatic lash that isn't too long or isn't too heavy on your eyes, this is for you, girls. I got you. I got you. These lashes are going to suit absolutely everybody, every eye shape, every eyeball. I can't wait to see you wearing them. Hello. Yes, I'm just gonna butt in here for a second. Watching back in the footage, I realized that didn't inform you that the lashes are of course reusable. They are stackable, customizable, all those great things. For these lashes, I really took into consideration people with hooded eyes because I have hooded eyes, even though people don't like to believe that I do. But I just walk around with my eyebrows up. That's my secret. So the Keilidh lash and Ego are suited to hooded eyes. It just depends on your preference. So obviously Keilidh being more natural and then Ego being more dramatic. These are my eyebrows not raised, and you can see that the eyelashes are not touching my eyebrow. They lift up my eye. Back to reality. I'm gonna brushes. Not just any brush set. This is a very particular brush set. Eye brush set with my favorite highlighting brush ever. So it comes in this plastic sleeve, and this is what the brushes look like whenever you get them. You have the gold foil background on the back, Urban Rebel. It tells you exactly which brush is and what it's best used for, but I'll tell you something. This brush set, and the reason why I love it, and again, like I've said plenty of times at this stage, I wanted to create things that you could use for multiple things, or like that would inspire you to use the brushes in a different way or create something differently. That's what I wanted. The brushes in this I had intended for like certain purposes, and I use them for completely different things now. And I'll explain that while I'm explaining these. I want to tell you something that I only figured out whenever I was collaborating with xoxo. Her first brushes came in the same style box. Look at, you literally zip it out, well, lift it out, and then if you turn this part around and put it back in, it acts as a box to protect your brushes. Excuse me? Excuse me? I just think that's so smart because it's a hard case, so it's really going to protect them. And because it's hard in here also, the brushes would sit in perfectly. I just think that's so smart. So you take it out of your box. This part actually comes forward. God, look, I better wash my hand before I'm gonna be all YouTubery. I feel like this is my aesthetic now. Makeup everywhere, constantly. You can see we stuck with the black and grey paint swatch along with the gold as well. I went with the all black and the all black head as well. I just think it looks so cool. They never look dirty when they're sitting in your... Whoops. Yeah, they never actually look dirty. Unless, of course, you're using like a white gel liner or any gel liners, really. I just used all these brushes to do my eyeballs right now. That's all I'm saying. So first off, we have the SK01, which is just the perfect highlighting brush. Don't come for me. Do not come for me. These brushes are completely synthetic. No animal hair was used, so completely cruelty-free, fluffy, not stiff, so easy to work with. You can see how fluffy and soft the brush is. And for getting right up here also, I just love it. I don't know what else to say other than I love this brush. I have used it as well for setting underneath the eyes because it is so small. It's great for getting right up there. I thought it was so funny because when Suzanne first seen like my ideas for it, she was like, what is with makeup artists and their small ass brushes? I was like, this is how we do. Obviously she has gorgeous big eyeballs where she could use any brush and it would look great. You could dunk her face in eyeshadow and it'll look great. But for me, who's got awkward eyes, and maybe a lot of you at home who've got awkward eyes, or you know, maybe you just want to do more Instagram crazy or like Instagram looks or more technical looks, or test your artistry or get creative or whatever. Next up we have the SK02. You guys know I could not do a brush set without having a brush like this. This is a crease blending brush. What I love about this brush is it's fluffy, but it's a little bit dense as well, so you can pack on the color while blending it at the same time. I honestly have about 20 of these brushes. That's a lie, I have about 10 of them, but you know what I mean. This is the brush that you'll see in all my tutorials coming up, and in past tutorials as well, because I've been very sneaky. I press it on and blend it out at the same time. It just kills two birds with the one stone. This is what I'm about, making things easier for yourself. A lot of you guys might have a brush similar to this in your collection already, but the reason why I wanted to have this in my collection is because I couldn't go without a crease blender brush like this, and no matter what, I feel like you can never have enough of these type of brushes. Suzanne actually has one of them in her other brush sets, but mine's a little bit smaller, a little bit more defined. This brush, alright, I get really excited about it. This is the SK03 brush, which is a fluffy definer. It's a small tapered brush to target and perfect small areas. You know, sometimes you get that little bit of eyeshadow that won't blend. This guy. Have you got awkward eyes to work on? Whenever you really want to perfect the shape of the eyeshadow that you want, would I go in with a big fluffy brush and maybe it just go wrong for you? This guy. When you really want to sink the color right into your crease and create that perfect deep crease for a cut crease, this guy. This is one of my favorite brushes ever, and it kills me that I had to keep this review for so long because it's a sin. It's quite long and super soft, as you can see. Again, you'll see exactly how I use this brush in my tutorials coming up. This is possibly my favorite brush in the collection, simply because if you make a mistake, this is the brush that's gonna save you. Next up we have the SK04, which is a small bullet brush used for precise packing and blending. I wanted to create a synthetic bullet brush that you could pack on color with but still blend a little bit too, because a lot of the synthetic ones I've tried have actually been quite harsh and not you know, super flexible like this, as you can see. If you guys watch my tutorials, and you know I always say that I feel like the bullet brush is one of the most underrated brushes in the makeup world. I feel like for detailed looks, it's just incredible. For building up the colour on the outer corner, bringing it up into the crease. This paired with the SK03, killer combo. A force to be reckoned with. Next up we have the SK05, which is a flat carving brush. Got the crease, pack on shadow and carve out your eyebrows. So I didn't want to just label it as a concealer brush because it's so much more than that. Ignore all the makeup on my hand, standard. But it is super thin, especially when you get like a liquid or a cream on this. Synthetic brushes are the best brushes when working with cream, and this for carving out your eyebrows is insane. Next up we have the SK06, and this is a small packer brush for smudging out the lash line and packing on intense pigment. This again is one of my best friends. Similar to one of my favorite brushes, the 13P from Inglot, but different. This one is much skinnier. This brush I have been using to do my eyeliner. This brush you can use to carve out your crease. This brush can be used to do whatever the hell you want it to do. It's one of those brushes that you can just do so much with. Again, I have so many of them lying around. I'm just really passionate about this brush. I really love how it turned out. It's actually great for a lip brush as well because it is that little bit fatter. Next up we have the SK07. This is a small detail brush. It's a thin definer brush for a more precise application. So exactly like what it says. So again, this brush I use for a lot of the things that I use the SK06 for as well. Again, I wasn't expecting to be able to use this brush for so much, but this one I would use for eyeliner. This is the brush I use for cutting my crease a lot of the time, for popping gel liners into my waterline. Possibilities are endless with these brushes, and that's what makes me so happy. I wanted to create a brush set that you could use for more than one thing. So again, these are the Urban Rebel brushes, the second part of my collection with xoxo by SJ. Again, the comment I get most is that I inspire people to play with color, I inspire people to play around a little bit more, and I wanted the brushes to reflect that. I'm not going to sit here and say that these brushes are for everybody because they're not. If you're someone who just puts a wash of color over your eye, you're probably, well no, you could obviously still use all of these brushes. They're not hard to use or anything like that, but I just mean to get the full potential out of these brushes and all the amazing things they can do. Just such a good collection for someone who's wanting to, I don't know, maybe, you know, experiment a little bit more, push their artistry a little bit more, do these creative, crazy Instagram looks with a lot more ease. That's who these brushes are for, who I intended these brushes for. Before I seen all these together, I was a bit hesitant with them because I was just like, oh my god, is it gonna come together? Is it gonna make sense? Is it gonna whatever? Once I got my final 7, I became obsessed, and these have all I've been using. These have been so hard not to use in my tutorials, although I have been using them in my tutorials because it's my channel and I can do what I want. I just love them and I feel so passionate about them. I didn't feel like I could feel as passionate about a piece of wood. I'm gonna put them back to sleep now in their little box. I think this is the best thing ever. Hello. Yes, me again. I also forgot to mention that these brushes in particular are great for people with hooded eyes. Because they are smaller, they are going to be a lot easier for people who have got smaller or hooded eyes to use. I got you. And that's why I love these brushes so much, because they just made my life so much easier and I wasn't getting frustrated using a big ass brush that was just covering my whole eyelid. And I also have realized what the perfect way to describe this brush set is. They're like the perfect add-on to your basic brushes. So we all have our basic brushes already, but this brush set is the perfect add-on. It's the brush set that's gonna step up your makeup game. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, again, bye. That there's the finished video for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed and that you guys are obsessed with the product. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to create these products for you guys. It's an absolute pleasure for me to have such an amazing group of people support me. I walk around like an alien 99% of the time, and you guys are like, yes, thank you. Thank you for every single one of you that follows me, that likes my makeup pictures, that comments. I know to you guys they're only a follow or a like or a comment, but to me there's so much more. That is you supporting me on my journey and what I do and helping me get to the places where I want to be. And I just really hope that I'm doing you guys proud. And it's not just me as well. My family love sitting down and reading all your guys' comments. You've no idea how much happiness that brings them, and I will never ever be able to repay you guys properly, honestly. Ooh. On that note, I'm gonna go. I really hope you guys enjoyed this and you're super excited for your products, like I said, they are on pre-sale now at xoxo.com and they will officially be on sale next Thursday the 15th. My vlogumentary will be uploaded on the Friday. I've got tutorials coming this weekend using the palette and using the products. If you have any requests on what looks you want me to do with this palette, please let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're the best, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye!